All right, welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights. My name is Michael Hicks. I'm your host with the most, and today's topic is going to be super awesome, which I believe I put some thought and effort into this one today. And before we get into the topic, however, I want to give you words from our sponsor. Can't sleep, got the aches and pains. You got to check out this CBD oil, y'all. It is Amish tested, proven formula, and guess what? You'll get back some sleep. You'll feel better. You won't have the aches and pains. And you can get right now, you can get 50% off at checkout. If you just put in New Heights, you can go to that website. That website is envitamins.com. That's envitamins.com. And the promo code is New Heights, all capitalized. Hey, are you struggling to find who you really want to become? Maybe it's in your purpose. Maybe it's in your health. Maybe it's in your career. Maybe it's just your relationships. My name is Michael Hicks. I'm a life coach and life strategist that helps you become the best version of yourself in all areas of your life. I've been doing this for an extensive period of time now, and I can help people like you that are truly struggling to find those things. Maybe it's a different career. Maybe it's finding that love of your life, or maybe it's just finding a way to have that better mindset. And how I can tell you right now, this proven formula that I've uncovered and I brought out to so many clients has really impacted their career, has brought them into better relationships. I've had a couple that were separated for 8 months and they are now back together. So if you truly want to find more purpose and alignment of your true values and your goals with a spirituality touch, reach out to me. LiveToThrive.com. That's LIV, the number 2, and then thrive.com. And you can get or apply for a free consultation, which normally runs for $250, but you can get it here today, absolutely free. Hey, let's dive into our podcast. So this is my attempt to record. So I was on my not my Facebook group, but I was on my YouTube page. So this is my second go. So love technology, love how it can be awesome sometimes, and love how it can be difficult sometimes. So today's episode, love. Yes, we need love. Give me that agape love, right? Leadership, and then building your legacy, building stronger relationships through intentional communication. Communication is absolutely vital to being successful in all areas of your life, whether that's in your career, your relationships, whatever it may be. Now, so let's get into the meat and the potatoes today. Welcome to Framing New Heights, the podcast where I challenge limits to reshape your perspectives, build a life of impact. I'm your host, Michael Hicks, and today's episode is all about a subject that really influences every single part of your life and your relationships. So let's jump in right away. So how many are you in a relationship right now? And not only are you in a relationship with a significant other, but maybe you're in a relationship with your business. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's your family. Because the way you lead your family is critical. And communication can either be building that legacy or can tear it down and tear it apart. And today, I'm really going to dive into the number one reasons why relationships fail. And that relationship can mean in your family, that relationship can mean with your significant other, that relationship can mean with your career. How do you fix it? And then the power of affirmation in shaping the people we love. That is absolutely critical and monumental. So I want to start with some facts, some reality of communication breakdown, because this piece is absolutely critical and informative. So the number one predictor, y'all, of divorce, it isn't infidelity or finances, right? You're like, oh no, Michael, that was really what happened. No, it wasn't. And how many of you heard of Dr. John Gottman? All right. Well, I use a lot of his stuff into my framework when I'm working with couples that are in marriages or going through or in the process of separation. But 90% of marriages that lack effective communication, guess what? They're going to either end in divorce or they're severely dissatisfied. Yeah. And you have to really be mindful of that. And not only that, when you're in your work environment, right? Here's a crazy statistic, and it was done by Forbes, I believe. If you feel heard in your workplace, okay, you're 4.6 times more likely to perform at your optimal best, your very best self, which is amazing because this proves that intentional communication doesn't just impact romantic relationships, as I talked about, it also transforms leadership. And into leadership, you then can become successful in business or where maybe it's even your family. Here's another crazy statistic: 69% of conflicts in relationships are from perpetual issues, perpetual problems. A lot of people, when they get into disagreements, what is the common theme? The common theme is I've got to win. I've got to win at all costs. I'm going to slam you. I'm going to go right through you, whatever I got to do. And you're like, wow, Michael, are you speaking to me? That used to be me. I teach in my life coaching experience win-win. How can I get my other person to win? How can I get my significant other to win in this situation? Because the Gottman Institute talks about the goal isn't to win, right? I've refrained it and used win-win. That's how I use mine. But here's what it is. It's to communicate effectively, not just effectively over the minor times, the small times, the short term times, but about long term issues. Because the big issues, y'all, excuse me, 80%, 82, well, roughly around 82% of people wish they received more appreciation and verbal affirmation at work and at home. Harvard Business put out a review, and this is an interesting perspective, is how many of you are use these words? And if you do, I know your business is growing, your career is growing, your relationship is growing. The simplest words of I appreciate you, I see you, I believe in you can really have a lasting change. Instead of just saying thank you, use those words next time. I remember often I would always say, "Hey man, I appreciate you. Hey, I see you. Appreciate you." Those are big things. Those are lasting images that paint a picture in our head. And here's the thing. Did you know this? Going back to the couples piece, most couples wait an average of 6 years before seeking any type of help for their relationship. What do you think happens during that time? What do you think happens? It's the small. I just was looking through my time hop and I saw how I looked 5 years ago. And I've changed. Gosh, I look back 5 years ago, I was a way different person than who I am today. My point to all of that is you put these little slivers in between your relationships, which end up later being two by fours, and then four by fours, and then it ends up being a monster big gap that you cannot fix because it's been so much turmoil and so much damage. So guess what? It's the damage has been done over a long period of time. And a true fact, American Psychological Association will back this, is that your relationship is done. And it's hard to come back from that crazy longevity, right? And I want to jump into this piece here today is the number one reasons why relationships really fall apart. And I'm going to tell you how to fix it. I want you to think about this for a moment. Imagine you get home, right? And dinner's being served, and one person says, let's just say the husband or the significant, whatever it is, significant others, you're sitting at the dining room table or dinner table where you should be eating, should not be eating on the couch. That's a whole new different story. And one asks, how was your day? And the other just shrugs, sighs, or says, fine. And then silence, right? And then after the silence, they pick up their phone, right? And then the other person sighs. Wow, right? There's so much to debunk there. A lot of you are like, Michael, that just seems normal. Oh, it seems small. It seems small. However, if the word being fine is used regularly, I would get I would learn how to better communicate with your significant other. Fine doesn't mean what the dictionary does for women. Fine means I am just coasting through life right now. Any minute I'm about to burst, right? And then over time, these micro moments of disconnection, guess what? Become the foundation of resentment, distance, and eventually emotional disrepair. That's why divorce happens. And that's why relationships break up. The real problem isn't relationships don't just fall apart because of a big blow up. Okay. Yes, that's usually the final outcome. Not going to deny that. They erode from constant small miscommunication, words that maybe were left unsaid, assumptions made. I had a client of mine and he was getting dressed to go do something and he took his shirt off and his significant other said, "Ugh, man, that we talked about that." That bothered him extremely. And if your feelings are being ignored and not present in that relationship and then intentional peace, the relationship's going to erode. And that's why it brings me to this next point, the fix. How do you fix this? Well, you fix it with intentionality. Okay. So instead of when you're at home, instead of asking, "Hey, how was your day?" I want you to think about this. What was the highlight of your day today? Or what was the best part of your day today? And give your partner a gift. Okay. You know what that gift is? Put this stinking thing, for those of you that are getting the audio, it's my phone. Put it away. Put the phone down. Don't even have it on your table. If you are at dinner, if your phone is on the table, the phone is more important than the person you are with. Who's in control? The phone or you? Who has more attention? The phone or the people you're with? Do you make love to your phone? Do you love your phone? Put the phone down. Make eye contact and engage. I always like to say is where your feet are is where you are. Be present there. And I want you also to think about this. Reframe conflicts. All right? Because here's the other side to conflicts is how many of you ever say, "You never listen to me"? Whoa. Get rid of you, first of all. You need to use the words, "I feel. I feel unheard. I want to connect with you." You know, I came from, a divorce about 10 years ago. And communication is very difficult for the person that I got divorced from to this day. I think I put in the work. I just don't think the other person's put in the work. And what I'm telling you about all of this is I've learned to use the "I feel," and I learned to be brief. I learned to be factual. I learned to be informational and friendly. And when you can do that, you will be able to connect better in conflicts, right? And it might not be something that just happens overnight, but it will happen. I want to transition into leadership and communication and how you can develop clarity, confidence, and really find your purpose. I want to tell you about a story about Sarah, who is one of my coaching clients. All right. Sarah was a high level executive and crushing it in her career. She was struggling, however, in her marriage. And her husband once said, "You speak with more excitement about your board meetings than you do about us." And how do you think that hit Sarah? Pretty hard. Sarah wasn't lacking love. She was lacking intentionality in communication. And that hurts relationship. So Michael, you may ask, or some of you maybe are saying, well, what changed? Well, I'll tell you. She I had her set up check-in times for real, uninterrupted conversations with her spouse. Now, that may be hard when you have little ones, right? Because they're always doing something. But maybe it's a 15-minute conversation, quick check-in somewhere. But that has to be uninterrupted. And I know a lot of people are like, well, when they go to bed, yeah, sometimes that may be late for you, and then you're exhausted from the day already. So find a way to set check-in times for real, and they got to be uninterrupted. And not only that, what Sarah learned is I taught her how to communicate with clarity. So instead of saying, you don't support me, maybe something could have been said of like, I need more encouragement when I take on these big projects, right? Something I always say is, how is that going to affect you? How is that going to make you feel? Those are some really good thoughts and ways to kind of trigger a good quality conversation. What Sarah realized is that leadership and love are built on the same principle. Okay. Anybody want to take a guess what those principles are? Well, it's clear, it's confident, and it's intentional communication. Now, what I found is in the time frame I've been working with Sarah, the key takeaway was whether at home or at work, communication is about making the other person, here it is, feeling valued, feeling validated, feeling seen, and feeling understood. Now, if you're not, I'm telling you right now, as a life coach, you need to get on top of that. And if you don't work with me, find someone that you can. Because systematically, the statistics show that if you don't feel valued and you don't feel seen and you don't feel understood, how long do you think you're going to make that last? Right? So think about that. I want to tie in this next piece, the power of affirmation and admiration. The two A words are critical. I want you to think about this for a second. What if I told you that the words you speak today could change not only your life, but someone else's life forever? True, what you say is who you become. How you say it is who you are. Take for a moment and reflect on this piece. Think about a time in which someone said something that completely changed your perspective about yourself. Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was a leader. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was a coworker. Maybe it was a boss. And all of a sudden, you know, it had the opportunity to change your perspective about yourself. And they maybe said something like, you know what, you're a true leader. Or maybe someone said, you really have great potential. Or maybe your significant other whispered and said, I love the way you think. Those are those are things, these words, y'all, they stick. And they stick, and you can teach yourself to do the same thing. And that's why I have this mindset component in my Live to Thrive formula, because it really shapes your confidence, your self-esteem, and motivation. Even though it's fleeting, can really help you see yourself in a better light, right? So here's some action steps that I can give you right now, and that you can do this anytime to seek something positive for somebody else or for yourself. But anytime you think positive about someone, I want you to say it. I want you to say it. Gosh, you're amazing. I love what you do. And here's why. And if your partner looks great, tell them. Don't hide it. Tell them. Tell them at that moment. If your employee maybe crushed a project at work, acknowledge them. If your daughter did awesome on the report card, let them know. You're amazing. You worked so hard. I love what you did. And remind them of the parents that are making good choices in life, right? That are, and let them know, remind them that they're doing those things. Because when you rob people of the blessings of affirmation, your words have weight. So use them to build them and not break them. So when you're talking, as you go about your week this week, all the people that are in your circle, build them up. What words are you saying to them that will build them and not break them? Because words can really have a strong meaning on others, but most importantly to yourselves. How are you talking to yourself? You spill coffee on the way to work. What do you say to yourself? Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so clumsy. Wow. That has long-term psychological subconscious effects on your outward projection. Here's my final takeaway for today, or what I want to call to action. Communication isn't just about talking, y'all, which we all love to do, right? Sometimes we talk too much, which I call diarrhea of the mouth, and sometimes we can have that, right? But it's about really connecting. Your words shape yourself, they reshape your relationships, they reshape who you are every single day. And here's the thing, the greatest leaders, whoever you think of as a leader, the greatest lovers, the greatest legacy builders, they have this one inherent trait in common. They can master intentional communication. And communication is all about listening. It's about bringing it in and learning how to be your best self. Everybody, my name is Michael Hicks. Thank you so much for subscribing to Framing New Heights. Please make sure you leave a review. And if this episode truly hit home, if you could share it with 5 of your friends, that would be amazing. Or comment or drop, DM me. You can also go to our bio page and get more information if you like any of these topics or you want to learn more about them or learn more even about my coaching program in itself. It's a great way to be intentional this week. Be intentional this week. And when you hear this podcast, how can you be intentionally communicative to someone that is valuable in your life? Maybe it's yourself. Maybe you need to start with yourself. Until next time, my name is Michael Hicks. I am the host with the most. As always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. Stay flexed.